Adobe Connect is an awesome tool for teaching virtual classes, but sometimes all the choices can be a little overwhelming. Welcome to this episode of Teaching with Adobe Connect, where I'll show you how to easily set up your class using layouts. So let's get started. I'm Karen Teely, a teacher and an instructional designer. Be sure to click the subscribe button for frequent updates and tips for teaching online. Here's the problem we all face. Adobe Connect has so many pod choices, it's hard to know where to begin. Sometimes it's frustrating trying to move the pods around during a live session. Yet looking at the same pods for an entire class is just plain boring for participants and the teacher. A solution to this problem is to set up different layouts ahead of time. Setting up the layouts ahead of time actually forces you to think through your content delivery and present a cohesive class. This eliminates the need to wing it as you go along. The layouts give you a solid structure to follow. Only hosts can see this right-hand layout panel. It's invisible to the participants. Here's how I set them up. Before class, I go into my Adobe Classroom to prepare it for my upcoming class. I begin by setting up a start layout to welcome the students as they log on. I've already set this up, but to create a new layout, click on the plus sign at the bottom of the layout panel. You can choose to copy an existing layout or start from scratch using a blank layout. Let's create a blank layout. Now we have to add in the pods we want. Let's add in a chat pod. We'll pick the main one. Let's add an attendee pod so we can see our participants. Let's add the video pod because this class uses video, and let's add a share pod so I can share a PowerPoint. I usually include a poll for fun to assess their mood and energy. I also include an icebreaker in a chat pod. Sometimes it's related to the content, sometimes it's just an icebreaker to get everybody talking. So now I have a new layout. It's at the bottom of my layout list. First, I want to rename it by clicking on the name. Then I want to move it where it's more useful to me during the class. The layout you are in shows up in blue. Once everyone has logged on and we're ready to start, I switch to another layout. Again, this is set up ahead of time depending on the content. I usually have just 3 or 4 different layouts that I reuse but update with current content, and I label them so I can quickly find them. For example, if we're having a whole class discussion and everyone is on video, I'll use the layout with a large video pod so everyone can see everyone else. Of course, there are no videos in this demo, so you just have to imagine their smiling faces. If you don't have video, use this kind of layout to keep the discussion question front and center so no one wanders. Or if you're sharing a document like a PowerPoint or PDF, use a layout like this. So you get the idea. You can set up as many layouts as you want, the goal being to keep the students engaged and your delivery smooth. At the end of the class, I have a final layout. These always include some reflection and feedback questions, plus a preview of what comes next. Well, I hope you'll love Adobe Connect for teaching like I do. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and leave your questions and comments below. Thanks for watching.